Hi, my name is Dave. I'm your host. You're listening to The Last Podcast, where the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm happy you found me. And if you're returning, welcome back. I really appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to find tips, ideas, and value from listening to this podcast. Today, I want to share a story with you, and it's about a young lady named Ella. So, we know that there are times in our lives where we might feel shut down, or we might sometimes feel that we are not adequate to do something, or smart enough to do something, or even brave enough to do something. But I'm going to tell you a little story about this lady called Ella. Once in a small town tucked away between rolling hills lived a young woman. Her name was Ella. Now, Ella was known for her kind heart. She was often doubted herself, especially in a town where everyone seemed to have a clear path and firm beliefs about their own potential. Now, she worked as an assistant in a small bookstore, lost in the shadows of her own self-doubt, watching people come and go with conviction, living their lives that felt purposeful and bright. Ella's life was quiet. Her days was filled with stacking shelves, chatting with a few regulars, and then slipping away to her home, a small apartment where she'd lose herself in the evening inside her books that offered lives that she could only dream of. But deep down, a small voice, almost too faint to hear, whispered that she was meant for something more. She would hear it in the moments of stillness, or whether she was lost in a particular inspiring story. Yet as quickly as the voice emerged, her doubts shut it down. One evening, as she was closing the bookstore, an old man named Leo walked in. He was a rare visitor, a traveler who had been coming through the town for years. Leo had noticed her behind the counter before and sensed her quietness, the way she held back like a flower reluctant to bloom. "Why do you keep hiding?" he asked her, and he asked it very gently. Ella was taken back, caught off guard by his directness. "I'm not hiding," she said, but her voice wavered. I don't know if I'm ready or even meant to do much more than what I'm doing now." Leo looked at her with warm, knowing eyes. "Let me tell you something, Ella. Self-belief is like a match in the dark. It can light a path that feels invisible. And if you don't light it, you'll always wonder what was there just beyond the darkness." Now, Ella thought about those words long after Leo left. They stuck to her like an itch she couldn't ignore. For the next few days, she began to see small opportunities in her daily life as potential matches to strike. She started engaging more with customers, sharing her own book recommendations, which she had been too shy to offer before. She even accepted an invitation to join the local writers group. Despite her fear, her ideas might be unworthy. As she stepped out her comfort zone, something remarkable began to happen. With each small act of self-belief, her confidence grew. She felt the world shift. And I would say a significant way, her perspective began to open. Her voice grew steadier, her vision clearer. She found herself looking forward to the writers group, where her ideas were not only welcomed but encouraged. She even began to write stories of her own, stories about people finding their strength and purpose. One day, as she was sharing a story she had written, a member of the group asked if he could show it to a friend of his, a local publisher. Nervous but excited, Ella agreed. Weeks later, her story was accepted for the publication in a local magazine, and people began to notice her, not as just a quiet assistant from the bookstore, but as Ella the writer. The shift in her life was profound, like a ripple expanding outward, touching everything. Leo returned to the bookstore months later, his curiosity drawing him back to the little shop. When he walked in, he didn't see that quiet, uncertain woman he once known. Instead, he saw a young woman who was blooming, who was radiant with newfound self-assurance. She greeted him warmly, no longer afraid to take up space, her eyes bright with purpose. "Look at you," he said, a soft smile spreading across his face. "You found the light, didn't you?" Ella nodded, her voice strong. "Thank you, Leo. I didn't know I could change like this." But you were right. That little match of self-belief, it led me to places I'd never imagined. From that day forward, Ella continued to believe in her dreams, in herself. She learned that self-belief wasn't something you acquire all at once. It was a practice, a flame she needed to tend to. But each day, she fanned it, letting it illuminate the path to the life she always was meant to live. So I know you're probably saying, why am I sharing that story with you today? I believe there are so many people out there who are living Ella's story, who reside in the shadows of their self-doubt or unbelief in themselves, who are chained by their own inability to set themselves free. You know, limiting beliefs often develop from a mix of experiences, social influences, and internalized thoughts that over time form mental boundaries on what we believe is possible for ourselves. Like Leo told Ella, self-belief is like the match in the dark. It can light a path that feels invisible and bring to light opportunities to explore beyond your wildest dreams, only if you dare to look to the horizon of your future and embrace your future with passion, with courage, knowing that you are meant to do more in your own life. I believe that you have the power to change beyond your wildest dreams, beyond your wildest imaginations. I believe you have everything already you need inside of you. You just need to unlock the door and bloom. Shine sunlight on the flower that you are. Let your seeds to prosperity grow. Let them germinate. You are the painter who will paint on the canvas of life, the life that you truly want to live. Hey, listen, my name is Dave. You're listening to the last podcast, and I really enjoy inspiring others. I really enjoy uplifting others. I thank you for this opportunity to be able to share some thoughts with you, and I hope that what I say on this show resonates with you and give you some ideas on things that you can do for yourself and in your own lives, or even help somebody else like a family member or a friend. I think I've done a good job then. Again, I want to say thank you, and do me a favor and share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. And I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much. And I wish you a fantastic day. I wish you a fantastic week. Until next time, have a wonderful week. Thank you again for listening. Be blessed.